assure all of you that all sorts of safety precautions have been taken.
को बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि इतने टफ टाइम्स में जहाँ पर बड़े बड़े फिल्म फेस्टिवल्स कैंसिल हो रहे हैं, उस समय में भी इतनी कन्विक्शन के साथ और इतने बड़े पैमाने पर ये फेस्टिवल करना, उसी स्पिरिट के साथ करना.
But under the circumstances, I think they have done a very good job, and they are following all the safety norms, etc.
I've been attending IFFI since a long time. This is the first time my film is in the Indian panorama.
Director of the film Merunissa. We're extremely happy that we are having the world premiere of a film at IFFI.
I'm from Portugal, and I came to IFFI to present the movie Moral Order.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on which part of the world you are in. My name is Naman Ramachandran. I'm the international correspondent for Variety, talking to you live from the Cannes Film Festival. And what you're watching right now is a panel, it's a virtual panel, which is part of the India Pavilion at the Cannes Film Festival. And it's my great pleasure today to introduce two preeminent personalities in Indian entertainment. Dhanpreet Kaur, who's the managing director of the NFDC, which is the National Film Development Corporation of India, and Mr. Chaitanya Prasad, who's the director of the International Film Festival of India, Goa. So, obviously the IFFI Goa and NFDC's Film Bazaar, run parallelly, and they are part of the same event in Goa in November. And for obvious reasons, it could not happen last year. But we hope to see you all in person in Goa this November. So I'll start with Chaitanya Prasad, who will kick us off with a poster, I believe.
Good afternoon, good morning, namaskar, wherever you are in the world. A great honor and privilege to be a part of the film fraternity from Cannes, and we are connected virtually. And that's a bit of an envy, sitting in our office rooms and connecting virtually to Cannes. So before we start, just 2 days ago, the ministry unveiled, the Honorable Minister unveiled the poster, the IFFI poster for the 52nd edition. Mode, virtual as well as physical. May we have the privilege of seeing the poster now. I think the poster is out. Yeah, I think you can see the poster on the live screen. So that's the IFFI poster. Traditionally, we have always unveiled the IFFI poster at Cannes when the Indian delegation has been present physically at the India Pavilion. But unfortunately, thanks to this pandemic, which has been making life a little difficult across globally, we have to do this virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with my colleague, and we work very closely, Dhanpreet Kaur. She's the managing director of NFDC, and my colleague in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And we work together to facilitate and organize the International Film Festival of India. Now, As far as IFFI is concerned, I don't think it needs any introduction to an international film community. Over the years, IFFI as a platform, as a festival, has become India's outreach to the world as far as cinema is concerned. It puts forth the narrative of Indian cinema through the changes and times that we are all witnessing. IFFI today is a platform which represents the diversity of Indian cinema. It also reflects and reiterates how the international film fraternity has responded as far as IFFI is concerned. We have a small presentation which we will be able to show you in some point of time. IFFI has been able to integrate film taste, film content, storytelling, technology, business models, integration with people to people filmmakers through festivals, through cinema, through successive editions. And I'm very pleased to announce, I won't say announce, but just to do a quick jog of the memory. Some of our films have featured even in the Oscars and have won laurels at the Oscars. And the very fact that the films do come to India, do come to IFFI is a very important benchmark for us, because for the simple reason that they constitute the kind of programming that we do. We embarked on a journey of having a hybrid festival this year. IFFI last year, unfortunately, was postponed from its traditional dates. So we had a hybrid festival in the month of January, from the 16th to the 24th. We had never done a hybrid festival before. First time, we were very skeptical as to what would be the response, because we had virtual segments where we had in conversations, we had master classes, we had interviews, etc. We showcased some films also. There was cinema viewing also. Partner country was Bangladesh, and we had physical cinema also. I must tell you that we were overwhelmed by the kind of response that we have received by the film fraternity globally. We were the first in the world, if I may say so, most humbly, that we started on this journey of a hybrid festival, and this festival was receiving a kind of a thumbs up across the globe. It was very overwhelming for us in the sense that it was a small experiment, and thanks to the well-wishers and the hard work put in by everyone, the festival got a resounding start. This year, the 52nd IFFI, we intend to do it again in the hybrid mode with more qualitative additions. It's also extremely important because we have the Satyajit Ray centenary celebrations on. And IFFI would be a platform where we would showcase the splendor of the masterclass craftsman, the craftsman who showcased India to the world through his cinematic excellence. That would be one aspect of IFFI, and that would also be discussed as far as Cannes is concerned. We will definitely try to bring the best of Ray at the 52nd IFFI. Last year, we did a retrospective of some of his films, and it was quite emotional for some of the viewers who had come to watch the cinema there. Apart from that, this year, we will be having a parallel festival called the BRICS Festival. The BRICS countries have come together, and India being the host country this time, we are going to have a festival of BRICS, 5 countries coming together on the sidelines of IFFI. So the focus nation this year are the 5 BRICS nations. So cinema from the BRICS nations will also constitute a very critical component as far as our programming is concerned. So this would be a new form of storytelling at the 52nd IFFI. This would be a new innovation that we are trying to do to integrate 2 diverse segments. You see, one is a focus segment as far as BRICS is concerned, and then coming through the traditional model of what IFFI has tried to do to incorporate cinema from all across the world. So that is something that is going to happen. We have, in honor of the master craftsman, the Satyajit Ray Centenary Award, which will be given out for the first time. And we also intend to have a memorial lecture from the gentleman or the lady who is given the award. So that is some of the plus that we intend to do. I would not like to go into further details because a lot has been given out. Our regulations have been put on the DFF website. Till 31st August, you can send in your entries for virtual as well as physical. The details are there. Uh, it's 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 a it's a festival which you or everyone from across the world should participate. We are hopeful and optimistic that travel restrictions to India and from India will be eased out in the coming months, where we can get cinema lovers, we can get actors, actresses to come across to India, as well as critical members of the film community. I must say that despite the COVID-19 phase one, we had 46, die-hard actors, actresses, producers, directors who came to India. And I remember our delegation from Brazil, if I am not mistaken, took 7 days to come to India. So such was the kind of deep-seated commitment that they had. So that was last year. This year I'll have it in my presentation where you can have a look and see for yourself as to how we intend to take the process forward. All I can say at the end of what I would like everyone to know, IFFI is a happening place. It's a confluence of ideas, content, filmmakers, tastes, diverse cultures, diverse mediums as far as the expression of cinema is concerned. Uh, Goa is an absolutely different kind of an experience, apart from being the tourism capital as far as India is concerned, with what everyone desires to have. There's a lot of cinematic content. And if you come to India, you will have a lot of flavor of Indian cinema through the Indian Panorama section, where we showcase the best of Indian cinema. So that is India's gift to the world as far as showcasing Indian cinema is concerned. We have done 51 editions. It's gone off very well. It's been received very well. And we are very grateful to the international film community. So, Naman, can we take on the presentation, please? Can we have the presentation, please? The first slide, please. Yeah. So this is my presentation. The first slide, can we have, please? The next, please. In this, we talk about what is being IFFI, the agenda of IFFI, since its inception, what it wanted to do, what it has done. It's an A-grade festival across the globe. It's been acknowledged by FIAF, organized annually. Goa has been the the venue since 2004. It's been organized by the Directorate of Film Festival under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and the state government of Goa. So, I mean, it's a collaboration which has been started 17 years ago and it has gone off very well. Can I have the next, please? The next slide, please. This is, ladies and gentlemen, for the international colleagues, friends, and the film fraternity, the kind of sections that we have in IFFI. We have the international competitive section. This is a competitive festival. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a competitive festival, perhaps the only festival in the world, if I'm not mistaken, where there is a prize money which is associated with the awards. So, and the awards are pretty, and the prize money is pretty handsome, I would say, even in international terms. It's a competitive festival. We'll show you what all classify and come under the nomenclature of a competitive festival. There is a festival kaleidoscope section. There is a world panorama section, retrospectives of masters, a tribute to the people who gave cinema the essence and meaning over the years and over the decades. There's a country focus, as I mentioned earlier, retrospective of the lifetime. We have a lifetime achievement award, which we give to an international personality. So we have a retrospective of the master, whoever is given the award in that particular edition. We have open screening of films. We have a state focus because in India today, there's a, what should I say, healthy competition to come forth and have the best filming locale as far as states in India is concerned. Over 500 filming locales we have, master classes and in conversation sections. Can we go to the next slide, please? The next, yeah. This again, sections within IFFI. We have a film bazaar, which is organized by the NFDC, which my colleague Dhanpreet would mention. There are special retrospectives. We have the ICFT collaboration, UNESCO Paris, where We give out awards separately. This is an initiative which has strengthened the bond between India, DFF, as well as UNESCO. We have the Indian Panorama section where we showcase the best of Indian cinema. Retrospective of the Dada Sahab Phalke Award. This is the highest award given to a film personality in the country. And this year, the winner has been the legendary actor from Tamil Nadu, Mr. Rajnikant, about whom many of our international colleagues and friends would be aware of. He has been absolutely versatile as far as the cinematic presence across languages, across regions, and across the globe is concerned. We have homages and we have special film packages. Can I go to the next slide, please? The next slide, please. These are the various awards at IFFI. The Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award, this time it has been introduced. We have the Indian Film Personality of the Year. So we also have the Centenary Award for the Best Debut Film of a Director, and we have the ICFT UNESCO Gandhi Award. Now, as I mentioned, the Lifetime Achievement Award earlier, that has been rechristened as the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award in honor and tribute of the master. These are the different categories that we have. I should not mention it, and the different genres on which it is given, as well as the kind of award, the Golden Peacock, Silver Peacock, and the kind of monetary aspect that is associated. The next slide, please. We have the glimpses of 50th IFFI, basically a hybrid. This was the Golden Jubilee, I beg your pardon, where we had over 200 films from 76 countries, the classification of premiers from across the world, what were the kind of numbers in terms of master classes and in conversation. Russia was the focus country, and we roughly had 12,000 physical delegates. The next one, please. This is the 51st edition. The next slide, please. Yes, this one, the 51st. Can you go back, please? Sorry. Yeah, this is the 51st edition of IFFI. It was a hybrid festival, a huge success thanks to the collaboration that we received from various aspects, critical players of the film fraternity. The virtual segment was shown on the OTT platform done for the first time. 200 films across 60 countries, and then the number of premieres, world premieres and Asian premieres. This was very, very overwhelming because the film at Oscars, which won the best foreign film category, came as our opening film at the 51st, another round. Bangladesh was our focus country. The next slide, please. The next slide, please. Yeah, these are some of the winners of the Lifetime Achievement Award. Some eminent personalities who have been present physically to receive the award. Bitario Storaro last year could not come because of the pandemic. He received it virtually, but Isabel Huppe came for our Golden Jubilee edition, and there have been many more. We just thought we will showcase some of them who've been eminent filmmakers in their own rights. Can we go to the next slide, please? These have been some of the international personalities who have come to India. Michelle Yeoh, Rajnikant, Ben Kingsley, and the rest. So, I mean, I just wanted everyone to have a fair look into it. Now, coming to the 52nd IFFI, I'm just about to finish. Next slide, please. This is the 52nd IFFI. The regulations have been unveiled. We've received roughly 75 films from 49 countries. The last date is about 31st August. We've given a classification of the kind of cinema that we have released so far as we speak today, just to give the audiences the kind of love and affection that we've shown to the IFFI platform. Next, please. India at Cannes 2021, the virtual pavilion, which was inaugurated by my minister, Mr. Javadekar. What has been the focus of Cannes 2021? We just listed a few points: filming in India, showcasing IFFI, which we are trying to do now, co-production, roundtables on film festivals, and film production, the challenges, the opportunities. So this gives you a bird's eye view of what India at Cannes 2021 is going to be in the next couple of days. And the next slide perhaps speaks of India, the way India has been, and the way we want to showcase India at Cannes, our virtual page introduction to the dynamic nature of Indian cinema across to the world. I think this is my last slide. And yeah, one more which says thank you. So I think we should end on that. One more slide says thank you. So we are over. All I can say is thank you very much, Naman, for the opportunity. And in my limited way, I just try to present as to what IFFI is, what Goa will be, and what we like the international community to do, participate, advise if necessary, and give us the best of films to showcase at Goa. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chaitanya. I think Ms. Kaur has dropped off, if I'm not mistaken. I think she was having some connectivity issues. So you'll have to talk for a bit longer.
No, no problem.
Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah,
now,
sure.
Now, I'm here on the ground in Cannes. So I'm just going to base my questions around that. So last night I met with Anurag Kashyap and then Rahul Jain, whose documentary Invisible Demons is playing in the environmental section of the festival. And tonight I'm meeting Suman Sen, whose project Akka Solo is in the Fabrique de la Cinema section. I mean, obviously that it's a work in progress. And then there's Payal Kapadia's film as well. So it's a fairly decent representation, and all these filmmakers have actually taken the trouble to get tested and spend the 10 days in self-isolation and then come to the festival. So my first question is, will we get to see the Indian films at Cannes? Will we get this year?
Well, you see, I mean, we don't, as far as the Indian films at Cannes are concerned, you see, we have a process, right? The government does not decide what is to be shown.
Okay.
I think we don't interfere in the creativity and excellence of cinema. Okay. I mean, so let's be very upfront. We have a process. We invite everyone to send in their entries. Those entries are looked into by a committee of, I would say, a preview committee, if it's a foreign set of films, which comprise of eminent people. So, for example, I don't sit down and do the adjudication. I don't. So these are people who watch cinema day in and day out. A bunch of, say, 20 odd experts. And then they decide amongst themselves which is the opening film, which is the closing film, what is the kind of packaging that we need to do. If there are some films which are very important, we just let them have a look at this is important. Why don't you have a look at all this, right? And as far as Indian cinema is concerned, they can very well participate in the Indian panorama section. There are regulations which come into play. So people would have to watch the DFF website to initiate their participation as far as IFFI is concerned, and may the best team win, or the best film come into the showcasing of the different categories as far as cinema is concerned. So that's it's sufficient to answer your question.
That's perfect. Thank you. My next question is the one thing which which is on top of mind for everybody here at Cannes. Despite the lovely sunshine and you're by the beach, just like Goa, is safety. Now, if you're not from a European Union country, such as myself, for example, you have to get a COVID test every 48 hours if you want to go into the Palais. So my question is simple. What kind of, I know for the hybrid festival earlier this year, you had stringent, safety guidelines. So what can we expect this year from the festival, especially for those coming from abroad?
Well, you see, as far as we are concerned, and I would like to be very upfront, we ensure that every guest who comes to India, the moment he steps on the Indian soil, he's my guest, right? So I need to put systems in place, which we did last year. There is no cause of worry. The only cause of worry is flights should come into India. So if they are landing in Mumbai or landing in Delhi, we have put systems in place by which they are facilitated through and through to come to Goa. When they land in Goa, we have a team to look after them. Because it is in our interest that our guests come to India hassle-free, enjoy the flavor of IFFI, and go back contented and satisfied. As I mentioned earlier, last year, we had a team of 46. 46 people representing coming from different parts of the globe. As you rightly mentioned, that people who wanted to come to Cannes today, self-quarantine 10 days, etc., and still are there to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, back in Goa, we work very closely with the state government to ensure that no foreign dignitary or guest delegate is subject to any kind of mental harassment or trauma, you see. So we facilitate it end to end. So no cause for worry. That's an assurance we can give right upfront.
Yeah, and I can say from personal experience that IFFI's hospitality is second to none. It's legendary.
Oh, well,
in fact.
thank you. We are blessed. Thank you so much, and we hope to continue that tradition. Yeah.
So moving on to the Satyajit Ray tribute. Now here in Cannes, everybody is talking about the centenary of the master, and you mentioned it briefly as well. So what kind of events can we expect around Satyajit Ray? Will we get to see, for example, restored prints of some of his movies, or will there be master classes? What are you planning?
Well, you see, we did the retrospective last year where we had about 3 films as far as Satyajit Ray is concerned, and we invited Hitman Chatterjee to come and initiate it. So it was a very moving moment for all of us, very emotional, because he felt very moved for the fact that he was talking about Ray in his different forms of excellence, and he having worked with him very closely. Now, this year, when the centenary started, right? Different film institutes within the INB fraternity, this SRFTI, FFTI, we have designed that special web page, which is there in SRFTI, FTI, where they are putting together the activities of the master. Different aspects of filmmaking are being put together, which would attract the real set of people who are interested, right? I'm talking about institutes, similarly for FTII, right? Now, and even for Films Division Mumbai has a lot as far as Ray is concerned, in terms of the online content, his documentaries, etc. All that is being put. They have already done it as a part of the centenary kickstart in the month of May. But now when we look at Ray, as far as IFFI and the INP ministry is concerned, we are putting together events which embrace a kind of a continuity. It's not a one-off thing. Master classes in conversations, yes. Retrospective, yes. As far as restored prints are concerned, we would be in collaboration with people who have the restored prints. My colleagues at the Directorate of Film Festivals are already in touch with people in Kolkata who have the rights of the restored prints. You see? And we would definitely be showcasing a full set of his classics. Now, we would be having the Centenary Award, which would be adjudicated again, which would be decided by an eminent jury. The person who's selected, the filmmaker who's selected, may the best person win, because this is the first time we are going to do it, would be invited to come to India if everything goes well and speak about Ray. We would organize a memorial lecture as far as the first Satyajit Ray memorial lecture at Cannes. I mean, not at Cannes, sorry, beg your pardon, at Goa. So that is another thing, apart from the award ceremony, etc. So there is a whole set of packages. I happen to also work in the public broadcaster Doordarshan, and I look after DD India, that is the English channel outreach to the globe. DD India, you may have heard of it. Within DD India, we are trying to position Ray through his special programs, discussion points, etc. So there is a whole sea of information available. We are just putting the programming inputs together to ensure that the tribute is visible to any film lover who comes to India or is from India, right? And I can say by my limited experience of last year, people were they just went over the top as far as race film were concerned. It was a house full, kind of. And this was, mind you, with COVID restrictions, right? So that's, yeah.
Now, it's a pity that Ms. Kaur is not here, because I had a few questions about the Film Bazaar, but in her absence, I'll just ask you some general questions. I mean, if you can, or you mentioned, you spoke at length about the IFFI's 52nd anniversary. Now, the Film Bazaar is by some distance the largest market of South Asian film market, and it's also possibly amongst the top 5 film markets in the world. In my experience, I've traveled to all of them, and the sheer volume of business that gets done in Film Bazaar is amazing. And there is always a focus on co-productions, international co-productions. So, what's going to be the Film Bazaar is a part of IFFI. So, what are going to be the commonalities between the bazaar and the festival? I mean, what's the overlap? How do they segue together?
Well, you see, we are fairly conscious of the fact that Film Bazaar is a critical component of India's outreach to the world, in the sense that how does it showcase the potential as far as marketing, distribution, co-production, and the other aspects of filmmaking are concerned. That's extremely critical, number one. Number two, integration with IFFI. Last year we did a few sessions together, etc. The virtual mode was on last year, all right. This year we are in the planning stage, I can tell you for sure, where we will try to bring in common elements so that there is no overlap in terms of duplication. We would be having a hybrid festival, we would be having master classes, we would be having in conversation series. There would be certain elements of the Film Bazaar which are the USP as far as Film Bazaar is concerned. That planning, strategic planning, is being undertaken as of today, as we speak. We are in the month of July. We are fairly conscious of the fact that we need to move fast. The whole team of NFDC and my colleagues at the Directorate of Film Festival, we are working out a template as to how we can show to the world that this year's hybrid festival was better than the last year. So what were the elements of the Film Bazaar that need to be improved, that need to be strengthened, vice versa as far as IFFI is concerned? What are the new elements that need to be brought about? Because when you do something virtually, you see, you need to be in the new normal, something which is more innovative and attracts people as far as a virtual interface is concerned. Because thanks to now we've broken the glass ceiling, that people are coming to a festival like Cannes physically, right? The virtual boredom, if I'm allowed to say so, is now perhaps a little thing of the past. So hopefully it should now just go away like a bad dream. For the Film Bazaar and for the IFFI OTT platform, the virtual modalities, I think as far as critical elements of cinema in terms of co-production, partnerships, shooting, regulations, B2B, B2C opportunities, all that would come into play. As far as IFFI is concerned, we would try to get the masters and the creative elements to come and talk about it, right? Both, if possible, from abroad. Anyone is welcome. We have now started reaching out to people because we just gave out the regulations. So that was our first pit stop. So now when all that is done, we then work towards building an architecture of commonality of issues, right? So, and I can assure you, we'll not let the people feel a kind of, anguish that this time the Film Bazaar was not good, or if you did not bring about an kind of a robust kind of programming which would attract people to come to India.
Okay. You just mentioned OTT platforms. Now, in the last 18 months or so, OTT platforms have, they're popular in leaps and bounds because people were stuck at home and they had no other recourse to entertainment. And now there are some festivals that actively showcase content co-produced by OTT platforms. For example, last night's opening film at Cannes was Leo Carax's Annette, which is co-produced by Amazon. So my question is, similarly, would IFFI be open to showcasing any content which are actually produced first for an OTT? I simply ask because I'd much rather watch a film at Inox Goa than on my laptop.
Well, I think you've asked a very relevant question. You see, as far as India is concerned, and you've been following India and the Indian film industry very closely, much more closely than I do. In India, there is a process of building blocks step by step. Right? OTT is a new style, form, an idea of presentation. Right? The very fact that people have gone on to the OTT and it is a technology, a platform which has come to stay. Right? I mean, there is no two opinions about it. The second thing is because of the COVID, the question of, as you rightly said, Inox, you would prefer to watch it in an Inox and rather than watch it on your screen, right, at home in the comfort of your home. Now, as far as IFFI is concerned, I can only tell you that IFFI cannot perhaps be ignorant of developments that take place in the film ecosystem. I mean, that would be a little unfair and it would not be appropriate. But the only thing is that when we have a framework and architecture which is already, for example, we never did hybrid festival, right? To begin with, we attempted it last year. We invited people to submit online entries as well as physical entries or both. Let me tell you, the online entries response was fantastic. It was in November, but then people for some reason dropped out. But till November, we had a date, traditional date. The response was overwhelming and we were also a little surprised. Though we got films also for the January edition. What I'm trying to tell you, Naman, is that if we will not put aside the OTT vibrancy which has come into play today. So perhaps in this edition, maybe not. But perhaps in the coming editions, it will become a force to reckon with. In the sense, in terms of creativity, you have people also at the Oscars coming in, right? When every vertical platform across the world is acknowledging this space, giving it the response that it demands or it expects or deserves, there's no reason why IFFI, though it's run by the government, facilitated, not run by the government, facilitated by the government through the film industry in India, not be responsive to the idea of taking this process forward.
And you also mentioned that this year, the instead of one focus country, it would be the BRICS countries.
Yes.
So for people who are not aware, BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Yes.
So do you have apart from the fact that the films are from these particular countries, do you have a unifying theme for the films that are being chosen from there?
Well, you see, my tagline or underlying theme for IFFI always has been joy of cinema.
Okay.
Joy of cinema, you see. And joy of cinema is something which overrides anything, you see. It provides the creative punch that is required to get the best of cinema from across the world. Right?
Yes.
So that is what is required. So for BRICS also, we would have the underlying theme. And what we are trying to do is, though it's being organized by the IFF as a as a festival on the sides of IFFI, quite a few of the films from these 5 countries would form a part of the main program.
Yeah.
So we then, because of BRICS, perhaps we intend to get more rich kind of content, because a festival in the name of BRICS with partner countries, perhaps there would be more enthusiasm. Though I must admit, we've been getting films from all of the 5 countries. And Russia was definitely the partner country or the focus country at the 50th edition. So you see, and China has been there earlier also. And so have been quite a few of them, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that this time it's like a collaborative integration that is taking place. And we are hopeful that this endeavor of ours will just take it forward the way it needs to be done. Yeah.
And my last question before I open it up to the audience, and for audience members, if you have any questions, please type it in the chat box. If you can see a chat box, I'm sure the moderators will make it available to us. So my last question is now using last year the BFI London Film Festival, and they've been doing this for a few years now. What they do is they choose, they pick the best of fest, and they tour it around different venues in the UK, and they call it the BFI London Film Festival on tour. And last year, because of the pandemic, they actually opened it up online so that people across the UK, the content was geo-blocked to the UK. So people across the UK could, watch films from home, and I mean, buy their tickets and watch it from home. So it's a two-pronged question, really. One is, given that the IFFI is such a rich and diverse showcase of cinema from around the world, would you consider, touring a small package of these films across India? And two, are there any plans to, since it's a hybrid festival, to make any of the films available online?
Well, you see, as far as a traveling circuit is concerned, within Goa, we for the Indian panorama or the other films that constitute the part of the Indian film retrospective, they are taken around. All right, so within Goa, they have these film carts, a mart kind of thing, where they go around in the specially designed automobiles, and they put it up in the villages, etc. That's been done from the 50th. Now, taking it across India, we do have the Indian Panorama Film Festival that are held not only in Delhi but across the country. We send these films to different festivals. I'm talking of the Indian component, the Indian Panorama.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the foreign films are concerned, there are certain, I would say, procedural issues. You would understand it better, being a film critic and who follows cinema much more closely. You see issues of piracy and putting the firewalls in place. We're trying to work all that out, you see, to make sure that any filmmaker who feels very satisfied with the kind of what should I say, infrastructure that we are giving in place to ensure the kind of security that he desires, right? So all that is being put in place. My colleagues are working very hard to ensure that this kind of infrastructure is there to ensure that nothing goes wrong. It's a process that can be taken forward, a thought which must be taken forward, because there's a lot of demand, I would say, that why only showcase films to Goa and Goa alone? Why not take the films to across the country? The bastions of cinema viewing in Kolkata, Bangalore, Trivandrum, Mumbai, these places, Delhi for that matter. I mean, so there is a consistent demand for this, and let's work it out. I would not like to give any false assurance on this account, but hopefully, yes, why not?
And so now we have let's open it up to the audience. We have our first question. The question is, in addition to film, recent years have seen more and more great cinematic talent in India working on long form TV series and create fantastic award-winning work for global audiences. Do you foresee a time that IFFI will expand its remit to showcase their work in this space?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's a question where you guide us for the kind of vision for IFFI, and I think it's a perfect input for us. because of the media, there is no kind of a firewall between different verticals of media and entertainment. You see, whether it's television or it's cinema, the long variety, the short variety, etc. No. Maybe because you see, we are guided by the regulations of IFFI. Right? Because we are, you would know better, a great festival. Perhaps such regulatory bodies in the future need to take this into account, because there are certain aspects which they guide us on, and that regulated system is very, very focused. We can't play around with it. So that is something which we could work on. We do get people from FAF to come over and chat with us. Perhaps it's a suggestion we can definitely take forward. You see, we can't have this kind of, when we are in a borderless world, where there are no geographical outlines between countries now, especially with cinema, which sees no barriers between countries and nations, there's no reason why it should exist for content. And hopefully, as you rightly mentioned earlier, OTT, television, maybe in the future. And why not?
And we have a couple of more questions, but just to add to what you said, Cannes, for example, they separated. Like you have the film festival, and normally in April they have something called Cannes series, where they showcase all the long form television, you know, what this gentleman or lady was asking. So the next question is from Ajay, who asks, in the physical mode of the festival, will it be 50% seating occupancy?
We go strictly by the COVID guidelines then. You see, we cannot afford to take a chance. God was kind, and thanks to the efforts of everyone, it was a glitch-free operation last time. There was no scare as far as any incidence of any case was concerned. You see, any case happens anywhere in the world, that too during a festival circuit, it mars the brand, the identity of a festival. Definitely, we have to go in by the COVID protocols which prevail and the health ministry guidelines, and to make sure that everyone is safe and secure in watching cinema. If we had our way, we would allow a full capacity, but we have to take very slow steps, because we know for sure that this monster, when it can come back or strike, nobody knows. Why take a chance? We have to be careful and conscious of the fact that something can trigger off a wrong alarm anytime. All right? Yes, please.
There's one more question. The Satyajit Ray Centenary Award, is it only this year, or will the award continue?
It'll be every year. It'll be every year. We had something called the Lifetime Achievement Award. I showed a few personalities who have received it earlier in the past. So because it was a lifetime achievement for a foreign personality, for an eminent film personality who contributed to cinema globally, a conscious decision was taken by the government that Satyajit Ray, his centenary, and for a person and an artist who created a different narrative around the whole idea of cinema and India's contribution to the world, the way he took Indian cinema to the global shows, it would be befitting that we have an honor in his name, which goes down in history. So this year would be the first, and subsequent years it would remain the same. Why not? Definitely. And we are truly privileged and honored. Yes.
The next question, I think you have answered it partly earlier already, but let me ask you anyway. What arrangements are you going to do for audiences in small towns so that they can watch award-winning films, etc., and appreciate and learn from these films? Or do you want to limit it to big cities and multiplex audiences?
Well, that's a very good question. I'd just like to inform the colleagues and friends and audiences who are watching this. We take film festivals to states and regions. Even to districts, depend. We have a collaboration with the state governments. This is for the Indian Panorama, films that come under the national awards and the Indian Panorama, two different set of cinema that we showcase to the country and we showcase to the world. That's number one. Number two, as far as the IFFI segment of it is concerned, we do take it to the smaller towns. There is no bar from restricting cinema from A city or B city or C city. Wherever we get a request, there have been private organizations which organize festivals, film bodies, etc., which they organize as festivals where we send our films. There is a format which we seek, a kind of a request format that we have. And if the organization's credentials are very good, we send it. There's no problem. Absolutely. The voluntary organizations, film societies, film bodies, educational institutions, we send it to the missions abroad. Missions abroad to organize a lot of film festivals where our cinema goes. I mean, this is Indian cinema. The Indian cinema that is produced in India, which qualify for the national awards as well as for the Indian panorama section. Yeah. So there's no bar in towns. No, we don't discriminate. We would love to go to every town if possible.
Great. I think that's all we have time for today. I'm sorry that you couldn't we couldn't hear from Ms. Kaur because she wasn't able to. She was on briefly, but she wasn't able to stay connected. But thank you so much, Chaitanya. It's been, as always, a pleasure talking to you. And it's been a very informative session. I've learned a lot myself. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll all see you, all of us on this virtual conference. We'll see you in Goa in November.
Well, thank you very much. Namaskar, thank you very much for the opportunity. I learn about cinema with every interaction that I do, because it's a learning curve and it's never complete. And especially with a person like you sitting and doing the moderation kind of stuff and talking about cinema, because cinema is deep into your heart and you have covered a range of festivals and issues. IFFI Goa would welcome you again this year. Please come be our guest. And for whoever has joined, we'll ensure you have a lifetime experience. Don't be bothered about the pandemic, in the sense that all you need to do is to have a safe, the corridors of passage to India needs to be there. You need to get a flight in and a flight out. And the rest is our responsibility. We'll take care of it. And hopefully with everyone's blessings and good wishes, we would be able to strike gold for the 52nd IFFI. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Leena ji. Thank you, your team, for putting me onto this wonderful interaction. It's been a humbling experience. Thank you so much. Have a great viewing, Naman, and everyone else.
Thank you.
Thank you.